Hello there, everyone. I'm Eric Branner, the host of the 440 podcast. And today I wanted to do a brief episode about something that is so helpful and critical and important to talk about in our work as artists and educators, musicians, guides, mentors, and entrepreneurs that is very commonly discussed this time of year and brought up, but is something that is actually a practice and a performance tool and something that has just great impact that needs to be practiced as a discipline throughout the year. And that is cultivating a sense of gratitude and practicing nurturing a sense of gratitude, especially on the days when you're not feeling it, on the days when perhaps your hands are falling apart, you're not playing the way you want to, your tone's not right, or perhaps your students haven't been practicing and they're not ready for recitals, and you think, what am I doing? Or you have a handful of students that leave your studio unexpectedly and you have a couple spots open and suddenly you're stressed about finances and you think, wow, maybe it's easier to get a regular job. On the times or during the times when we feel overwhelmed or we feel like we're not performing at the level that we want to, or we're not experiencing the sense of success or progress that we had hoped, this is the time that I like to lean into forcing a gratitude practice. It's easy on the good days to say, wow, my student just won that competition. I'm so grateful for their parents and that student and the work that I did and that they did to get us there. That's easy. It's much more difficult at other times when we're feeling overwhelmed and feeling not as successful or we're struggling with something. So in today's episode, I just want to go through some ideas to share that I do, because I often feel these same things as both a musician and a teacher and a business owner, is this idea that gratitude isn't just a feeling that we carry around and we flaunt to the world and tell people how grateful we are for them, but it's actually a discipline and it's a practice that we can work on mindfully and we can develop. And it's a musicianship skill as well. So I could sit here for an hour and I could talk about why gratitude matters. We could talk about the data, the neuroscience, the research about what it does to the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, the region associated with decision making and emotional regulation and blah, blah, blah. But I don't think that's as important, because you can trust, you've heard enough on social media and through reading and research that gratitude is profoundly impactful, that it makes a difference, and that the end result of all this research and of all these big studies is that imagining gratitude, practicing gratitude, produces positive brain changes. You don't have to feel it to get the benefit. You need to practice it. And I'm just going to repeat that. You don't need to feel grateful. You need to practice it. And I'm specifically speaking to these times when we're feeling challenged, when we don't want to, when our natural inclination is to complain or to whine or to just think about how hard things are or think about giving up. That's the time we want to practice imagining, feeling a state or a sense of gratitude. Because gratitude not only helps us get through those moments, gratitude helps us manage and lessen the time and impact of stress and burnout we might be feeling, especially this time of year. This is a time of year when, we feel kind of stressed. It's been a long year. We have the holidays coming up, and although they should be a relaxing time for many, for we musicians, for we educators, there are recitals, there's performances, there's holiday gigs, and there's also just the reality that another year has passed and that we're doing the same thing or we're trying new things. This is a time to practice gratitude as a practice, as a discipline. One very cool piece of research done by the University of California, Davis and the University of Miami showed that just a 10-week gratitude practice significantly increased a person's optimism and also reduced their health complaints, right? So it has a physical manifestation that occurs when this practice happens. So we know there's science behind why we do it, but at the end of the day, Gratitude helps us block these toxic emotions, such as feeling envious, feeling resentful, feeling regret, feeling depressed, feeling overwhelmed, feeling angry, feeling bitter. Gratitude can help us work these out. There's a guy named Robert Emmons who's a leading gratitude researcher who finds that that's what gratitude's actually doing. And so also, as a teacher, I like to talk to my students about gratitude because gratitude actually helps improve teaching and learning. Students who are taught by teachers how to practice gratitude, how to go through these gratitude practices, they also have higher motivation and connection. They're more connected to the music. They're more connected to their journey of learning. And the teachers in this study done by Seligman and Peterson in 2004, they found that by writing one gratitude letter per week, they found a decreased burnout and increased sense of efficacy in their classroom. So all the science is there that through studying and through practicing gratitude as a teacher for ourselves and for our students, we will have better results. This is actually a tool to make us better at what we do and also helping us enjoy our existences more. So there's no question that a gratitude practice is a wonderful thing to do, that it makes sense to cultivate, that it is wise to consider and to implement into your life. But as musicians, as artists, there's also reality, right? There are days when it feels impossible to feel grateful. And I have felt this hundreds of times over my career as a guitarist, as an educator, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as a community leader. It's been really difficult at times when the sense of being a musician, you don't feel appreciated. You play a great gig, you've prepared for it. You don't get back from the community what you were expecting. You don't achieve the fame that maybe you thought you deserved. You don't win the competition you would have liked to have won. There's so many times you see friends who are pursuing different careers in finance or law, and you see the lives they're living and how seemingly easy they are attaining material wellness or success, and how hard it feels like you have to struggle. Maybe you've had an uncle or someone at a family holiday get together that says the old classic, those who can do and those who can't teach, right to your face. Or people who say, when are you going to get a real job? And they think they're being funny, but they're talking about what you've devoted your life to doing. It is hard to develop a sense of gratitude in those moments and to maintain one. Those moments come for everybody. It doesn't matter what you're doing in the world. There's always going to be self-doubt. There's always going to be challenge. What we can do as musicians, entrepreneurs, educators, is we can feel those moments of challenge and see them for what they are and observe them and be mindful of them. And in those moments, set a trigger for ourselves to practice developing a sense of gratitude. Some days, your fingers aren't going to work. Some weeks, your students aren't going to practice. Sometimes your body hurts. I've had periods of my life where I was diagnosed with arthritis. My hands were really messed up. I was practicing way too much, practicing 4 to 8 hours every day. And my body hurt, and playing music hurt. And I now know that I was through overtraining and I wasn't practicing wisely. But I remember being so angry about even choosing to be a musician because I couldn't work hard enough to reach the level that I wanted to. And it was so hard to see the reality that, wow, I'm someone playing music, making my living doing it, doing this beautiful thing. Why am I running myself into the ground and being so angry about it? And so what we do with all this emotion and experience is that we change the frame through gratitude from being stressed to being of service, from pressure to what a privilege this is to be doing this work, from what's missing to what is the possibility and what's the intention of this day. And I want to run through those reframes again a little bit more slowly. From feeling stressed or anxious to feeling of service, to being grateful for the fact that I am making the world a more beautiful, just, cultured, and creative place. From a place of pressure, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to get my students to reach this level for this adjudication? How am I going to get this done before this recital? To a sense of privilege. I am making the world a beautiful place. This is my privilege to choose this path to go and explore my gifts as an artist and a human being. From what's missing to what's possible. I'm not a good enough player. I can't perform this well. I'm not going to win that competition. I didn't get the tour. I didn't get the gig. My students aren't playing at this level. To what's possible to do in this life? And what can we do? These three little shifts are massive that you can make. You can change your perspective from feeling that you're stressed to feeling that you're of service, from feeling that you're under pressure to feeling that you are privileged to be doing this work, from feeling what's missing in your life and your practice and your work to what's possible. What can you do? That is all of our best bets. That is our wisest choice to make in any moment. I wanted to share this piece of paper there that was given to me by the amazing educator and composer and human being, a pianist named Forrest Kinney, who passed away a number of years ago. And he was so deeply beloved. We were actually both part of the Seattle Music Teachers Association. And he handed out this piece of paper called the As I Begin Teaching Today, a Statement of Gratitude. And on this, there are 13 gratitudes. And I've had this hanging in my studio for at least a decade. It's, as you can see, it's dog-eared. It's been around. I've hung it in different studios, but I've just always loved it. I know that this is accessible on Forrest's website, so if you'd like to check it out, you can download it. I think it's wonderful. And there was just a few of them that really stood out to me as this I Begin Teaching Today, a statement of gratitude. I am grateful to be alive at a time when I can make a living from teaching others to make music. I'm grateful that my work is meaningful to me and even uplifting. I'm grateful that others entrust me with their time, their musical education, and their stories. I'm grateful for my students and for what they share with me and for helping me to learn to be more flexible and patient. I'm grateful for my teachers who taught me this wonderful art. I'm grateful because without gratitude, we can have everything and it means nothing. So I invite you, if you're listening to this, go to Forrest Kinney's website, check out these 13 gratitudes, print it up, but more importantly, write your own statement of gratitude. About this time of year, we're nearing the end of the year. I do a couple things. One is I always start thinking about my large personal, professional, family goals that I want to try to tackle in the coming year. Been doing it forever. I think it's a great practice. I also practice cultivating a new sense of gratitude for the year and where I am in the journey of my life, and the gratitude for what's coming ahead in the coming year and years and decades. These two things go so well together. And I was really first motivated over a decade ago by this As I Begin Teaching Today statement of gratitude from Forrest. So I'm so glad I ran into it. I'm so glad I got to know him while he was with us. He was a really wonderful human being, and he got it, and he practiced this, and you could feel it when you're around him. So what would your personal statement of gratitude look like in your work as a composer, performer, educator? What can you practice being grateful for? What can you have this in your notes on your phone, or have a physically written out, or even on a sticky pad, hanging? So in these moments of duress, emotional pain, of seeming failure or challenge, that you can refer to, and you can practice the discipline of reading these out loud to yourself, these affirmations to bring that sense of gratitude back into your heart and out into the world. In this next section, I want to take a few moments to go through a guided meditation for gratitude and just to get ourselves in this space and to explore some different ways that we can practice when we have 2, 3, 5, 10 minutes to sit and be aware and to be grateful. So take a second, get comfortable. If you're in a chair or you're on the floor, just sit in a way that feels right to you, and take a few minutes here just to feel your breath, to relax, to feel the space around you. Breathe deeply, breathe slowly, and let's just get ourselves in a space to be grateful and to practice for a moment. And once you're feeling calm and you're feeling quiet and you're focused on your breath, let's feel a sense of gratitude for your musical spark, for the thing that you fell in love with at some moment in your life. Think back to when that was, as a child or as a teenager, when you first discovered music, when it first had an effect on you, when you maybe first touched your first instrument or heard your first instrument. Focus on that moment, the moment that you fell in love with sound. This was an unchosen, natural passion that we musicians have within us. Think to that moment and focus on that moment and be grateful for the fact that you discovered sound and music and expression. And just let that sit, that first moment when you fell in love with music. And as we're breathing and as we're reminiscing and feeling a sense of gratitude for discovering art and music in our lives and within ourselves, it's great to notice that this should feel an energy in your chest and your heart. And if you're not, I like to put my hand over my heart. And I like to feel these emotions, this sense of gratitude, less from my mind and more from the center of my chest. It's a hard thing to describe, but the best way that I think we can cultivate that is to put your hand on your chest and feel that gratitude here. And once we're feeling that emotion, let's move this to our students. Feeling grateful not just for the fact that they come into your studio and they show up, but for the fact that you're getting to connect with and to know these amazing human beings at whatever season or point they are in their lives. Let's feel grateful for their effort, for the stories of their lives and their journeys. Sense a feeling of gratitude for the fact that they trust you, that they come into your space and they trust you to guide them and to lead them and to introduce them to music that you love so much, that you discovered early in life that this was your thing, and now you get to share it with other people. And one of my favorite gratitudes for teaching is to think of your most challenging student. The students who challenge you to sharpen your patience, your compassion, and your pedagogy, because you can reach anyone. You can be patient with anyone, and you can be compassionate with anyone. So as we're practicing gratitude for the students that we teach and that we will teach and that we have taught, finish with an image of your most challenging students, of the ones who have really pushed you to your limits of patience. And feel that sense of gratitude that you've had them in your life as teachers to you, to help you with your patience, your compassion, and the depth of your pedagogy, and your ability to sell the passion that you feel from inside your heart into the world and into the hearts and minds of these students. So we're feeling this remembrance of how wonderful it was for you to discover your passion, and you're cultivating a warm sense of the people and the students that you've worked with within your studio and within your career. This is a beautiful moment to switch your thought to the lineage before you and begin by thinking of a teacher or the teachers in your mind. See them that taught you, of the people that helped you turn the passion that you felt in your heart towards music and the curiosity into being able to do it. The people that guided you, that mentored you, that modeled this life. Put that person in your mind. Feel that person in your heart and sit with them and feel grateful for the fact that you got to work with these amazing educators, leaders, mentors, artists, creatives, and that in a little way you were able to carry on their spark and you were able to pass on their spark. Then invite a few composers or minds or educators that maybe you didn't know, but who impacted you. Maybe it's the composer that wrote the first piece of music that you heard that made you fall in love with music, or the first concert that you saw. Practicing a sense of gratitude for these people who have changed your life is profound and impactful in this moment. So in your mind, you're seeing your teachers, you're seeing the people who brought you up, who encouraged you, and you're also inviting in the composers, the artists, the performers, the people who motivated you, who inspired you, who changed your life through this beautiful, ephemeral, temporal art form of music. And we just sit with this feeling for a minute, and we are aware of our love of music, and we are aware of how wonderful it is to work with students and the connection we have as humans. And we're feeling grateful for the people who have brought us to this point in our careers where we're able to do this work. And we're thankful for everyone who has contributed over the centuries to developing and preserving this art that is our own, that is our purpose to share with the world. And as you feel that, let's bring it in and let's take a moment and feel a sense of gratitude for your body and your instrument. And feel your hands and feel gratitude for the fact that they are the tools that allow you to be expressive and to convey expression. Sense a feeling of gratitude for your breath. As a singer or an instrumentalist, our breath is one of the most important tools that allow us to be human and expressive in our phrasing and our communication. Feel a sense of gratitude for your ears and your ability to hear, to be able to hear sound, and for our ears to be able to process the world around us. Sense gratitude that you can hear, that you can enjoy music, that you can ingest music into your mind and into your soul through your ears. And you're sitting with your body and your ability to express music and to ingest music. Add in your instrument, whatever that is, Is it your guitar or your piano or your voice? Cultivate a sense of gratitude for that, for the fact that you have this instrument, that you have this piano in your studio, and the journey that it took to get there, the commitment, the sacrifice that it took to bring that instrument into your life. Feel grateful for the fact that you have this instrument that you're able to use as a tool to communicate with the world. It's an incredible thing how these things come into our life, how we use them, and we don't want to take them for granted. Your instrument gives you the ability to make sound. And we focus on our bodies, on our breath, on our hands, and the instruments we use to express ourselves fully as creative human beings. And what a gift it is that we have these things in our lives that allow us to do this. And lastly, we want to add in our final gratitude, which is the gratitude for music as communication itself. We've settled in. We've nurtured our gratitude for music in itself, for your students, for the lineage that you came from, that brought you here. Feeling a sense of gratefulness for your body, your instruments, how you're able to put that out in the world. We want to close by just feeling grateful that we have music, this gift, this tool, this vehicle to share an idea, to share an emotion, to share a feeling. Nothing is as effective or as profound or as compelling in the universe as a vehicle than music. Music is a language that is older than words. And it is a form of communication that is older than words. And it is a very special thing that is very deeply embedded into the human spirit. And so feel that sense of gratitude for the fact that music is your way to be deeply human and to communicate. And as we think about communication, teaching is that. It is a form of deeply communicating, of listening. It is a communion together with another human being, and you get to do that. Let this gratitude be the fuel, be the kindling, not the pressure. This is a soft landing for your day. This is a return to who you are, why you do it, and what makes this journey so wonderful. This meditation is a way back home to yourself. So maybe take a few minutes to sit with everything that we just worked through, breathing slowly, and feeling what it feels like to take inventory and to feel grateful for this journey that you're on. So now we're coming back together, and we have this great practice that you can do, that you can adjust. This is a quick run through of kind of what I do when I'm sitting quietly, practicing gratitude for my art and my music and my ability to teach. And now that we've cultivated this and we practice this, let's return to this idea of what do we do when we don't feel grateful, when we're feeling bitter, when we're feeling angry, when we're seeing other people seemingly living easier, more financially successful existences with less stress. And we know that's just perspective, and we know that it's the grass is always greener and all these things. We can internalize that. But what do we do in these moments? Well, the first thing that you do is you observe it. And one of the things that I really have worked very hard to do is to observe my emotions, especially when I'm feeling bitter towards my work, and especially when I'm feeling angry at my hands for not doing what they want to do. Definitely when my students frustrate me because they're not completing what I hope they would complete or achieving what I'd hope they would achieve. We mindfully observe, wow, I'm feeling pretty resentful today. Wow, I wish I would have picked another career. It would have been easier to be a lawyer. Whoa, maybe my uncle was right in that those who can do and those who can't teach, whatever. You observe it. The next thing that you do is you realize that everyone who is alive and with a conscience and a mind, they experience this at different points. It doesn't matter what you do. There are going to be moments where you feel this, where you feel overwhelmed, where you feel unhappy, where you feel you're not getting back what you've put into something. That is normal. And you need to normalize that and understand that and be like, wow, this is what I'm feeling right now. And this is something that happens to everyone. The next thought that you want to explore once you feel that and you observe that, because this is the most important thing. Often our emotions will swirl out of control or swirl in a direction that aren't the direction that we want them to be. And we don't even notice it. We just start acting out and we're not aware of it. But once you observe that emotion and once you've normalized it, your next trigger is to say, this is the moment to practice gratitude. This is the moment to observe that emotion and to practice that sense of gratitude, that discipline that we talked about before. And you're not going to want to. That's why this takes discipline. That's why this takes practice. This is the last thing you're going to want to do. So the tools for this, you can write these down or you can come up with your own. What I think is really helpful is to say, I need to do a gratitude practice. Pull out a piece of paper and write one thing that you're grateful for in your work, in your studio, at the end of that teaching day. The power of writing something down. I'm grateful this student asked this great, curious question. I'm so grateful that I have new strings on my guitar and the tone sounds really beautiful. I'm grateful that I have this amazing program for my next recital. Write down one thing that you feel grateful for. The next thing that's really helpful is, aside from writing, is to be verbal. And I have noticed this from inventorying successful people that I've known, is that a trait that they seem to have is they all talk to themselves and they affirm themselves and they say it out loud. I think that there is an incredible, massive value to being able to look at yourself in a mirror or to just look into the world and to say thank you out loud. Before your next student shows up to the studio, say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to be teaching, to be doing the work of music, to be having a creative existence, writing things down, saying things out loud that you're grateful for, and verbalizing them, committing them to paper is just a great tool. As you develop the practice of gratitude, of nurturing, of fostering this in the challenging moments, because that's what we're here to talk about. It's really easy to practice gratitude on the great days, and you should do that too. This episode is about finding the difficult, sticky moments and injecting a gratitude practice. A third thing that you can do when you're in an emotional state where you could really benefit from a gratitude practice is just choose a piece of music that you're grateful for that exists. For me, the El Decameron Negro by Leo Brouwer is a piece that I've just loved forever, and I think is so beautiful the way it tells a story. And just connecting to that composer and his lineage and what he's given to the guitar repertoire world and just how that piece makes me feel, it warms me up. And it's another way to be grateful for the lineage that I'm connected to the minds that developed that art form. That's a third great thing that you can do in your own practice. And I don't want to tell you how to do it. I don't want to say this is what you should do. This meditation we did a few minutes ago, and these tips of writing things down and saying things out loud and choosing simple individual things that you feel grateful for, this is just science. This is what the research and the science shows are great, impactful ways of doing this, but you know yourself. So at the end of the day, and at the end of this episode, You are doing work that will ripple through generations. And that's what I am most grateful for about being a musician and a teacher. I've been doing this long enough to see my students grow up into fantastic human beings and live meaningful, impactful lives. I got to be a part of their journey. I'm part of their lineage of their lives and their artistic experience. And you're part of that flow. And this is the most amazing thing to be grateful for of all of it, is that you've chosen to take part in this flow of culture and thoughtfulness and beauty and art and development and humanity. And gratitude is the lens that you can wear that allows you to feel that miracle, that allows you to sense that truth that's been part of civilization since there's been civilization, and that we've been developing as human beings. And when life clouds that over, when life is just feeling too much, too overwhelming, this practice is what will bring you back. This practice is what will help you weather those storms. This practice is what will help you come out of them more quickly. This practice is what will help you reframe your perspective, and you get to a point where those moments don't have as much impact, because through months and years of committing to this practice that started with this great "as I begin teaching today" statement of gratitude that Forrest Kinney handed me at a piano conference a decade ago, it becomes a tool that keeps you within a manageable level, that allows your stress, that allows your overwhelm to be productive, that allows it to be something that's part of your journey and not something that's debilitating. Thank you so much for listening today. I really encourage you to create your own gratitude statement, to go print out Forrest Kinney's gratitude statement, to put that statement where you teach. I've had it hanging up in my studio forever. I've often have had it on my music stand. Put that somewhere where you can see it. So I hope that this episode brought you a little bit of warmth and a little bit of awareness and a little bit of gratitude. And if it did, share this with another music teacher that maybe you think would enjoy it or could appreciate it too. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week. You've been listening to the 440 Podcast. If you found this helpful, subscribe at Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and leave a quick rating. It makes a big difference. To learn more about how to run your teaching studio with less stress and more joy, visit fonz.com. I'm Eric Branner. Thanks for being here.